Hello, my name is Amanda and welcome to your 1 hour, 60-minute vinyasa class. Today we're going to be practicing on grounding, and as always we're going to begin with a 5-minute either meditation or journaling of your choice. So get in a comfortable seat of your choice and I'll draw you back to the session here in about 5 minutes. draw your attention back to your practice today. If you're journaling, you can go ahead and wrap that up. And as mentioned today, this is going to be a grounding practice. I would encourage you, if you have blocks available, to go ahead and grab those. It may help you move into some different variations of poses today that'll really help you ease into the flow of your practice today. Because remember, the goal is always to move like you. So, without further ado, and again, in whatever comfortable seat of your choice that you would like to take today, you can go ahead, pardon me, get out any kind of yawns you gotta get out for the day. Go ahead and sit up nice and tall wherever your seat of choice is. We're going to start with 7 cycles of breath. You can go ahead and take a mudra with your hands if you'd like, or just rest them on your knees, palm down or palm up, whatever is calling to your soul today. If you'd like to flutter the eyes closed, you can, and then we're going to start to breathe. On an inhale, breathing in for a count of 1, 2, 3, 4. Pausing at the top of your breath for 1, 2, and exhaling for 1, 2, 3, 4. Inhale. Pause. And exhale. Inhale. Pause. And exhale as you melt away all your stresses of the day. Inhale. Pause. And exhale. Give me 3 more cycles of breath. As you finish your exhale, if your eyes are fluttered, if your eyes are closed, you can flutter them open. And we're going to go ahead and move into a staff pose. So that's simply sitting on your bottom here with your legs out in front of you. Now, your legs don't have to be zipped together. You can have them a little bit wider apart if that feels more comfortable with you. Also, this can be pretty stressful in your low back with this nice sitting up tall. You can achieve the same grounding practice as if you sit on a block. You can place it under your bottom here, and you can still ground down through those sit bones. So sitting up nice and tall, but it creates a little extra space if you've got really tight hamstrings, pardon me. So from here, and again, if you don't want to use the block, you most certainly do not. You're going to go ahead and sit up nice and tall. As you notice, ground down through those sit bones. And when you're ready, we're just going to fold right on over. Just relaxing the head and the arms. The arms can either be at your side, you can place them on top of your legs. Just don't grab and pull yourself down. You're just easing yourself into this position. On your next inhale, I want you to sit up nice and tall. Exhale. And then when you inhale again, I want you to start to bend forward at the hips, but try to keep a more straight line of your back. I find that it helps, if you take your other block, kind of sit it somewhere in between your legs here, and lean forward, again, keeping that straighter back. You're trying to peer over the block and down into something, the abyss, if you will. Holding here. And fold over, just rounding through the spine here. Again, just relaxing, flowing like you. up again. Sending the arms overhead, nice and tall. And on your next exhale, you're going to start to twist around to the right, opening the arms up. If you'd like, you can place that your left hand on the outside of your right knee here, and place that right hand down behind you, finding a twist. Sitting it nice and tall as you inhale. As you exhale, maybe you twist a little further, deepening the twist here. Go ahead and release, sending those arms back up overhead, nice and tall. This time twisting around to the left hand side. Again, placing right hand outside of left knee, left hand grounds behind you, lengthening, sitting up tall as you inhale, and then as you exhale, deepening that twist. Go ahead and release, bringing yourself back, to center. I'm going to go ahead and remove my block, but you're welcome to still sit on that if you would like. You're going to take your left leg here, tuck it into the inside of your right leg, regrounding yourself if you need to, if you're switching a little bit of a position. Inhaling, sending, the arms up. And then exhale, just come forward over the knee, rounding through the spine. Go ahead and sit on up nice and tall. Again, if you need that block for a visual, we're going to keep that straighter back. We're going to go ahead and start to lean forward like we're peering over the block, trying to keep our backs relatively straight. And I also want you to push that right hip crease back. A lot of times we tend to open up to the side, so push that right hip crease back. You feel a nice stretch along your hamstring here. And round through the spine. Go ahead and sit up nice and tall. You can go ahead and switch your feet here, this time tucking the right leg into the left. Grounding in those sit bones if you need to. Place your block there for later. Sit up nice and tall. And when you're ready, you can just round through that spine, just falling over the left side. Sit up nice and tall. Same thing as before. We're gonna reach over. We're gonna look over that block. If you don't have a block, we're just looking out in front of you like you're peering down into something. Keeping a relatively straight, flat back. I want you to peel that left hip crease back. You may notice you start to creep with a more open one. Peel that hip crease back there. Exhale, rounding through the spine, letting the head hang heavy as you deepen your stretch. All right, go ahead and sit up nice and tall. This time you're going to widen the legs here. And your width of your legs can be either as wide as your mat. They may be super way out here. I want you to find what feels good in your hip crease today. Go ahead and ground down through those sit bones. And again, I invite you to use that block under your bottom if you need that extra space there. It's perfectly acceptable. When you're ready, you're gonna go ahead and sit up nice and tall. And as you exhale, you're gonna start to fold over, rounding through the spine. Just relaxing where you are. Make any kind of adjustments that you need. Go ahead and sit it nice and tall. And again, this time with that more flat back, you're going to start to peer over your block if you have one. Peering down like you're peering down into a pool or a pond here. Keeping the legs active. Your legs should be pressing into the earth. I don't care if your feet are flexed or more pointed, as long as the legs are actively pushing into the earth. But grounding is for connecting with that earth below you. And on your exhale, round through the spine. Still keeping those active legs. All right, go ahead and sit up nice and tall. Pardon me. We're going to find easy pose here. That may look different for each of us, and again, same thing. If you want to remain on that block to get that extra lift here, certainly feel free to do that. Go ahead and make any adjustments that you need to ground down through your sit bones, where those sit bones are in contact with the earth here. Sitting up nice and tall. We're doing a seated cat-cow. So on your next inhale, you're going to pretend excuse me, that you are dropping the belly, so you're arching your back very slightly, and you're opening that throat up to the sky. And exhale, round through the spine. Lots of space between the shoulder blades here. Inhale, finding length, opening up, pushing the shoulders away from the ears. And exhale, round through the spine. One more time as you inhale, open up, finding that space, melting those shoulders away from the ears. If you need to take any kind of gentle movement here in the process, feel free. And then when you exhale, round through that spine. And again, if you need any kind of free movement that you feel like you need to take that's calling to you, certainly feel free to do that. Inhaling yourself back to neutral. We're going to make our way into a tabletop position. Moving like you, whatever that looks like. Landing with, your knees in line with your hips. These back legs here should be grounded down to the earth. In other words, you should be pushing away from it. Your your wrist is in line with your shoulder. Nice straight line here. Again, tabletop. I want you to take any kind of free movement here to warm yourself up. Maybe you need to go a little bit in circles, moving back like you want to. You can take a couple more cat-cows if you'd like. Maybe you look over your right shoulder and then your left. Whatever we need to do to move like you. And when you're ready, finding stillness, I want you to bring the big toes together. Send the knees out as wide as your mat, if that's comfortable for you, and sink your hips back, coming into child's pose. Now, if this is very stressful on your hips, grab a block. Stick it between your legs here, and allow your bottom to come back and rest on that. That gives you the ability to move into the position without creating as much stress and strain on your hip area if needed. Now, For child's pose, you can send those arms out long in front of you, or you can walk them back to your side, like so, resting the forehead to the earth. And again, if that forehead to the earth, especially with this block underneath you, is too much, you can grab a block and place it under your forehead and ground down this way. So I want you to move like you, finding what feels comfortable. And when you're ready, we're going to move ourselves back into tabletop, re-grounding down the arms, and the knees, legs down to the earth. We're going to start to walk our way into puppy belly. So you're going to start to walk those arms forward, melting the chest down to the earth. You want to try to keep your hips in line with your knees as much as possible. Now, for a lot of us, this is not a very easy position to get into. So again, I encourage you to grab those blocks, and you can either stack them, place them under your chest, or you can still move into the position safely without overstretching or overstraining your back. This is very important. I don't want you to drop into your hips here. See, I'm doing that. That puts a lot of strain on that lower back. So you want to still keep the abdominals tight as you're melting down, into the earth. When you're ready, you're gonna, spread all the fingers nice and wide, plant the forearms down onto the earth, and you're gonna start to slide your way through, coming into Sphinx pose. Your elbows, you might have to readjust here, should be in line with your shoulders. You're grounding down through these hands. Your abdominals are still active. Don't jump into that low belly. Sit up nice and tall. Your front here should just be like it is in cat, where you're finding that space in the throat and the chest area nice and open. Sending the gaze out in front of you. Legs are active, pressing into the earth. All right, when you're ready, you can go ahead and melt that forehead down to the earth. Letting the arms relax behind you if that feels comfortable for you. Or you can leave them up here at your side, resting your head to the side. Whatever feels good in your body. Excellent job. When you're ready, you're going to place these hands right at your chest level here. And you're going to make sure your toes are tucked under, nice active legs in the back. And you're going to sit up, peeling the earth, the chest away from the earth, coming into a baby cobra. I've got the worst cramp in the bottom of my foot here. Woo! All right, when you're ready, you can go ahead and move like you, coming through tabletop if you would desire, moving into downward facing dog. This is your first down dog for the practice. So I want you to move like you. If you need to walk your dog, you need to give yourself a nice generous bend in the knees. Moving like you. Pushing away from the earth. top of the mat here. Finding a nice forward fold to give yourself a nice generous bend in the knees. Ground down through those toes and those feet. Generous bend. You can fold your arms if you'd like to just dangle here for a minute. On your next inhale, you're going to raise up into that half lift. Finding a flatter back. And then exhale to fold. Inhale, root to rise, standing up nice and tall. As you exhale, cactus the arms open. Inhale, arms up. Now we're going to move through, our first sun salutation for the day. On your next exhale, you're going to go ahead and fold over. Inhale, finding half lift. Exhale, folding. Step it back into plank. As you exhale, you're going to shift forward, lower down through chaturanga, finding cobra. Moving through to downward facing dog. And then making your way to the top of the mat. Inhale, finding half lift. Exhale, folding. Inhaling, root to rise. Exhaling, hands to heart center. One more time. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, fold. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, step back into plank. As you exhale, shift forward and lower down through chaturanga. Inhaling for cobra. Exhaling as you move into downward facing dog. Inhaling as you make your way to the top of the mat. Exhaling and pausing. Inhaling for half lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, root to rise. Woo. And exhaling, hands to heart center. Take a moment to pause, to ground, to reset yourself. When you're ready, you're going to float the arms down into mountain. And we're going to take our first lunge for the day. You're going to send your left leg back, arms up overhead, finding a lunge with your right foot forward. You want your arms, your legs, your hips facing the front of the mat here. Front knee over front ankle. Go ahead and float the arms down to the earth. Coming into a low lunge, you may need to move your back leg back, and that's okay. Go ahead and drop the back knee and shift your hips backwards. You're coming into a runner stretch here. Flex that foot on the right hand side. It does help to have some blocks available if you don't have the flexibility, or you can sit up a little bit higher. You're peeling the right hip crease back, feeling a nice stretch along the back of the leg here. Helps if you open your chest and send your gaze forward, deepening that stretch. And again, don't be afraid to use your blocks. What they're there for. You've got to sit up nice and tall in a nice high setting. Perfectly fine. Each side of our body is different. All right, when you're ready, we're going to roll it through. We're going to come into a lizard. So I want you to plant your hands, and then I want you to walk your right foot out to the outside of your right hand. Now your right knee should be married, pushing in towards your right shoulder, and your right shoulder should be pushing out towards your right knee, coming into a lizard pose. Now, if you're here and you're up and this is as far as you can go, stay here. If you're able to, you're certainly welcome to grab your block here, lower your elbows down onto the block, or if you can bring your elbows all the way down to the earth, that's perfectly acceptable, but I want you to find what feels good in your body. And your right side and your left side might be different. So just welcome whatever sensations are there. Don't push yourself. Don't feel that stress or that strain. are down, I'm going to go ahead and have you sit up. Move your block off to the side. And we're going to start to walk that right foot over to the left side of your mat, coming into a pigeon pose. Now, a lot of times when I see the pigeon, people feel the need that this front shin here needs to be parallel with the top of the mat. And that may not be what your body is desiring. That may not be how your hips are shaped. So don't force it if it doesn't go. Likewise, if you find yourself dumping into this hip here and you're like really sitting back far, grab a block, wedge it under your bottom to give yourself some extra support. Might have to take some adjustments here. But that allows you to move into your pigeon while being supported by your block. That's what they're there for. And if you'd like, you can remain upright, or again, you can come down to your elbows either on a block or down to the earth. Whatever's feeling good in your body. And that back leg is still active and grounded. Relaxing into pigeon. For a minute and notice if your right side feels any different than your left. No big deal if it does, just want you to take notice. When you're ready, you're going to make your way to the top of the mat, nice and slowly. Inhaling, coming all the way up. Exhaling, hands to heart center. Pausing for a moment. That right leg back, coming into a lunge on your left side, arms up overhead. Again, peeling that left hip crease back. Might have to make some adjustments here. Finding a high lunge. You ready? You can float your hands down to the earth, coming into a low lunge position. Again, if you need to make adjustments here, feel free. You ready? You're going to drop your back knee. You're going to peel that hip crease back, coming into a runner's lunge position. Again, you're flexing that foot in the front. You're peeling that left hip crease back. Those hips in line, you should feel a nice stretch along the back here. If you need help getting up, stay in here, use your blocks, or you can bring the hands down to the earth, sending the gaze forward. And again, your left side may feel different than your right, and that's totally normal. When you're ready, you're going to roll it through. Walk that left foot out to the side here, mirroring that left foot, left shoulder, pushing against each other, coming into a lizard pose. And if you'd like to, you can bring the elbows down to the earth or to a block, finding what feels good in your body, and making any kind of adjustments along the way that you need to. you're ready, if you're down, you can go ahead and sit up. Start to walk that left foot over to the right side of your mat, coming into a pigeon pose. Making adjustments as you need, grabbing support from your blocks as you need. And again, if you want to lay over, you can certainly feel free to do so. Pardon me. Finding what feels good in your body. When you're ready, you can go ahead and start to move yourself out of pigeon, rolling over onto that left hip, and then making your way, however it may be, into downward facing dog. Pausing once you're in downward facing dog, just to ground down to the earth, noticing how your body feels. Go ahead and make your way to the top of your mat. Inhaling, finding your root to rise here, all the way up. Exhaling, hands to heart center. And floating them down into a nice tall mountain pose. Now I want you to look at your feet here. I want you to lift up all 10 toes. Lower them back down to the earth, really grounding down through those feet there. Nice active legs. You're drawing that navel in here. Nice active hips and abdomen area. Nice tall spine. Chest is open, throat is open. Shoulders are rolled back. Standing nice and tall in mountain. And we're going to move into chair pose. And when we do this, depending on what the flexibility in your shoulders are, you can send those arms up overhead. You can keep them at heart center, or you can even keep them down by your sides if that's what your shoulder flexibility allows. I want you to find what feels good in your body. But on your next exhale, I want you to start to send those hips back. And we're coming down into chair. Finding what feels good in your body. And when you're ready, you're going to start to shift the weight over to your left foot, picking the right foot up. If you have to reach down and grab your leg, please feel free. Coming into a standing pigeon. With any kind of adjustments that you need to. Finding what feels good in your body, balancing here. Now, if this is a lot of balance for you, you're certainly welcome to grab onto a chair if you have one close by. The wall is a great thing to use as well. Finding your balancing point. Maybe you sink a little lower. One more breath here. And then as you exhale, stand right on up into mountain. Grounding down again. Nice tall open chest. Next exhale, you're going to start to send those hips back again, coming into chair. Nice, tall, open chest. When you're ready, you're going to shift the weight over to the right foot, reaching down for that left, coming in again into that standing pigeon, making any kind of adjustments that you need here. Please feel free to use the wall, the chair for support. These are quite challenging positions. more breath. And as you exhale, stand on up into mountain pose. That was excellent job. Excellent job. When you're ready, face the front of your mat here. Coming into a wide-legged stance. You're going to go ahead and fold right on over, letting the head hang heavy. On your next inhale, you're going to find that half lift. And exhale, fold. Inhale, lift. Now this time as you exhale and fold, I want you to reach over to your right leg. Kind of a head to knee on the right side. Walk your hands back to center. And then over to the left. Back to center. This time when you inhale, send the arms up, nice and tall, overhead. Big stretch here. If you'd like to move into a star pose and stretch it out, please feel free. Moving like you, finding what feels good in your body. All right, we're gonna come down, focusing on the right leg, into, hold on, I'm gonna walk myself to the back of the mat here, into a side lunge on the right side. Now I find side lunges to be quite challenging because there's a lot of alignment things, a lot of balancing points here. So lunge into that side. I prefer to keep my hands at heart center. For some reason that helps ground me here. All right, now listen closely. When you're ready, you're going to start to plant that right hand down to the earth. You want to stack that shoulder over the wrist here. Right leg is going to come back to meet the left, coming into a side lunge, a side plank, excuse me. If this is hard, it's too hard, lower that leg down to the earth here. This for a supported side lunge. And I want you to find what feels comfortable in your body here. Excellent job. Go ahead and bring that right knee down to the earth here, like you're in the supported side lunge if you're not already there. Walk your hands around to the center. I want you to find some length on the left side here for a side lunge variation. Still keep that back nice and supported, finding that nice length in the back body. Lift yourself back up into a wide-legged stance here, making any kind of adjustments that you need. Inhale, send the arms up overhead. And when you're ready, we're going to start to lunge on the left side here. Again, walking those feet out a little bit wider if you need to. Inhaling nice tall, abdomen here. Hands at heart center, that helps. Finding that nice stretch here along the inside of the leg. Feeling the strength and the grounding through that left leg. And when you're ready, float that left hand down. Start to make your adjustments as you're going to move into a side plank here. Very important that that wrist and the shoulder are in line. And when you're ready, move yourself into a full side plank, which is what I'm doing here, or lower that knee down to the earth into a supported side plank. I think our obliques here don't get used as much as we would like to think that they do. So side planks can be very, very challenging. So please, 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 we need to modify and support our bodies. Let's do that. When you're ready, we are going to lower that knee down to the earth, walking our hands back to center, finding that side lunge variation. right knee down to the earth. We're going to be moving into frog now. You're going to start to turn those feet out, okay? And walk the knees out as far as you can get them. Now I encourage you to lower yourself down to the earth. You can either put elbows on the earth or on a block. And if this is a lot of pressure, you want to keep your knees and your hips in line, but if this is a lot of pressure, back off, choke up on it a little bit, take a block and put it underneath you, or maybe two, for support, because this still allows you to move into the position, but without creating that undue strain to your muscles. We don't want that. So whatever variation works for you. Remember, everyone's body is different. We're going to remain in frog for 5 cycles of breath, breathing like you. I'll check back in a second. All right, we're going to go ahead and slowly start to move ourselves out of frog. Kind of rock a little bit side to side. Start to slowly, very slowly walk those knees in. So a lot of pressure on your hips here. So please take your time. We are going to move, into a hero's pose. Hero's pose. Let me see if I can turn to the side. Hold on. Your feet should technically be out to the side, just like in frog. You should be sitting all the way down and back, drawing those knees in. Now this is very painful for a lot of people in the knees, and that's normal. This is not a normal position that we move into. So I definitely encourage you to grab a block for support. And if these knees feel very awkward with your feet turned out to the side like this, just tuck them straight behind you. You want to find that length in the abdominals. Still feeling that stretch in the legs here, and play around with it. Find out what feels good in your body. Like I said, if you can't come all the way down and sit up tight, or that feels like, for me, that feels really, really, really tight in the front of my hips, which I know is creating undue strain on my knees, I'm going to use that block right underneath my bottom. Sit up nice and tall. Use the extra space. That's what the blocks are for. Finding your way to downward facing dog. Excuse me. Making your way to the top of the mat. As you inhale, finding mountain pose. Nice and tall. And when you're ready, you're going to start to shift your weight over to the left-hand side, bringing that hands up into prayer here at heart center, bringing that right leg to the ankle. Your body feels the movement. You can bring it up to the knee. Remember, when you're doing this, you're pressing that right foot into the left leg. They're kind of counteracting each other. So just be careful when you're pressing on that right knee. I don't want to create any undue strain. Maybe you reach down and pull that right leg up all the way into the left crease. Standing nice and tall for tree. Grounding down. This will be our last sequence here. When you're ready, you can send the arms up tall. You can keep them at heart center. You can send them out behind you. Whatever you want to do, I want you to flow into warrior three. You're going to start to kick that leg back, bending forward, hips should be down towards the earth. Again, you can send the arms back, keep them at heart center, or send them out long in front of you, grounding down to the earth. And when you're ready, stand up nice and tall into mountain. Grounding down through those feet. Hands coming back to heart center. As you begin to shift the weight over to the right foot, taking the left foot up. And again, be it ankles, call them all the way up to the knee, or maybe you reach down and grab that left foot, tucking it into the right crease here. If you have a wall or a chair nearby, if you find these poses quite challenging, please feel free to grab that wall or that chair for support. That's what they're there for. Help you to move like you in your practice. Still grounding down, so getting all the same benefits, but being supported. And when you're ready, you can go ahead and start to flow into Warrior 3. Again, moving like you, whatever that looks like. Be different on this side. If you need to give yourself a little bend in that bottom knee, feel free. Adjusting those arms. Maybe you take a couple different variations with the arms. And then standing right on up into mountain. Grounding down, rolling those shoulders back. Nice active abdominals. Excellent job. We're going to go ahead and make our way into tabletop down on the mat, and you can get there in whatever flow feels best for you. Once you're in tabletop, you're going to inhale, send the right arm up high to the sky, and then exhale, send it through. You're going to thread your needle. Inhale, send it up, and exhale, send it through. Time, inhale, send it up. This time as you exhale, sending it through, you're going to stay here. If you need an extra stretch, you can walk those left fingers out. Nice big stretch. Unwind. Coming back into tabletop. Once you find your neutral, you're going to inhale that left arm up. Exhale, send it through. Inhale, arm up. Exhale, send it through. One more time. As you inhale the arm up. Exhale, send it through and stay. Again, if you want to walk that right arm out, feel free. Go ahead and unwind. Coming back into tabletop. I want you to make your way onto your back now, flowing, moving like you, whatever that looks like. Once you're on your back, maybe take some gentle rocks side to side. Any kind of final poses that you like to make before we move into Shavasana. When you're ready, give me a nice full body stretch here. And as you exhale, you can melt those arms down to your side. Maybe you place one hand on the chest, one hand on the belly. Really grounding down to the earth and whatever feels best for you. And trust me to guide you out of your Shavasana in just a few minutes. ready, you're going to start to wiggle the fingers and the toes, rolling the wrists and the ankles, wiggling the arms and the legs, bringing awareness back into your body. When you're ready, you're going to bring your hands together and up to the third eye. Thank you for grounding with me today, and I hope that you feel supported throughout your journey.